I'm so excited for our team call tonight. We only have one more team call after this for the month of September, which just seems absolutely insane. Again, I'll say this, I feel like I say it every week, but this has been the fastest, slowest year ever. But it's literally flying by, you guys. We are headed into the fourth quarter and we have so much coming in the pipeline. And I just want you guys to just pause for a second and reflect on, number one, what you've done this year, right? What have you done this year that you are really proud of? And I know that there's something that you've done that you can take pride in. And then I want you to think of, what have you not yet done that you set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year? And then do a gut check moment and ask yourself, have I done the work to get there? And if not, what am I going to do these last 3 months and 10 days to achieve that? 100 days, you guys. 100 days left in 2020. And I know we all started 2020 like super high, and then shit hit the fan, right? It has not gone the way any of us have planned. But we know as a team, we do not let those types of things define our circumstances, and we continue to move forward. And if your eyes have been closed, maybe you've missed that we've had explosive growth on our team this year, and not just Tenaciously Fierce, but all of Diesel Nation. And tonight, I'm so excited, and I know you guys have been so excited about our guest speaker, but I do have a few things that I want to go over before I give her the proper introduction and let her take this away. So first things first, I know some of you guys have been asking Stephanie and I about Wednesday prayer calls. They are open to everyone. This is something that is facilitated from Beachbody coaches. It is not a Beachbody, like corporate didn't put this together. Okay, so whether you are, following the Lord, or you're curious and you just want to get rooted and surrounded by some freaking incredible powerhouse women who are just bringing such a light and like the gospel, get on these calls. And yes, it does take sacrifice of getting up, especially us on the West Coast, because it's 8 a.m. I mean, it's 5 a.m. It's 8 a.m. for them, but it's early, right? And so I want to invite you onto those calls. We try to put them in chat threads. So if that's something that you want to be a part of and you're not seeing those yet, let me know and we'll get it to you. Second thing is, fourth quarter officially starts, I believe, on the 7th of October, which means if you are pushing for an end of year rank, you have to start within and hold for 6 weeks. So I would start planning now. I would literally look at the date, count it out, and figure out where your qualification starts and where it ends. Many of you guys are on the verge of becoming star diamonds. Many of you are pushing for diamond and literally are like a half an emerald away, or you have all the people in place except for 2 emeralds. Like, now's hustle time. Now's the time that you want to communicate. You want to go and you want to follow up with every single person who's in your groups that's not yet a coach. And then moving forward, if you're not already doing this, I would absolutely get everyone signed up as a discount coach and use bold language and just saying, I'm doing you a disservice if I don't offer you this 25% discount, because you're also going to get this community, which for me is priceless, right? Honestly, I say all the time, like, our programs are life-changing, our nutrition, there's nothing like it, but it's the community. That's why I stayed. That's what kept me. That's what made me feel like I could do anything, was surrounding myself with these incredible people, okay? Couple things that have come down the pipeline if you haven't already tried them. Number one, you have to try 30-day breakaway. I don't know if you're already planting seeds for that. If you're not, now is the time to do so. Some ideas that I have for you guys is test out the program. Stephanie did a really good job at this yesterday. She tested it out and she got really vulnerable in her post. If everyone can mute themselves, that'd be awesome. Maybe Kimberly. Let's see. Let me see if I can mute all. Mute all. Okay, got it. But she got really vulnerable and just talked about how she's wanted to be a runner, but she's not a runner, and it's going to challenge her, but she's committing to doing it. The other thing that I would do is not just talk about it in your stories, but put up polls, right? Last night I did one, and it was, what's your preference? How do you like to work out? Do you prefer cardio and weights, or do you prefer running? right? And so many people voted on running, and all I did was, hey, have you checked out the sample? And they're like, what sample? And that starts a conversation, right? And then we also have our brand new, if you weren't on the National Wake Up Call yesterday, go catch up on that because it was excellent. We have our 21-day meditation challenge. I'm going to be putting up some details. I'd love to do it as a team. I think this is a great way to create that morning habit. More now than ever, we all need to take a deep breath. We all need to be still. We all need that extra help, right? So just go out and see what's there that you're missing. If it's, I say this all the time, guys, it's not for a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. Yes, I can deliver all the information, but as a leader and a CEO of your business, you should know what's going on and not depend on another leader in this business to get that for you or to help you be innovative. I do want to let you know, you don't have to be creative. There are very, very, very creative people out there that you can pay money to. That's what I do. I utilize Marco. I use the Pixie Hue. I did use the Mompreneur for a long time. And I know I sent a lot of you guys last week. One of the girls from our team, she will actually put together a PDF for you for sneak peek stuff, right? So if somebody's like, hey, I want to know more about being a coach on your team, you can say, give me a second, and send them a PDF that has quick links and like pictures of you and your team and videos you create. Do your hair one day, sit in front of your computer, make a couple videos, send them to her. You can pay like $60 and she'll do it for you. Or if you are Canva savvy, you can do that as well. I just want you guys to know all this stuff is available to you. Like, I get questions all the time, and I know Kristina does too, is like, how'd you do that? And it's like, we paid someone, right? More now than ever, I'm outsourcing. And I used to be afraid to outsource because I thought I wouldn't be able to afford it. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. I tell you guys all the time, a closed mouth don't get fed. Worst case scenario is you figure out how you can afford Marco next year, right? So just those things. And then I did want to let you guys know that I will be adding a new video into the team page. So if you have a new coach that's being onboarded and they don't want to wait for that first of the month new coach training where we get on Zoom, there's going to be something right there. I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of person, when I got started in this business, even though Mindy had stuff for me and it was like all there, and we didn't have Diesel Nation training yet, but there was some stuff in the coach online office. I wanted to know how to do it all. So I was like on YouTube, I was on Google, I wanted to know all the things. And so this will be a resource for them just to go and watch. It won't be any longer than 30 minutes, so they could literally listen to it while they get ready in the morning. Okay, now the reason why you guys are all here, I'm so excited. I'm going to be giving you guys an introduction to Kristina Delgado, which I don't think that she needs. She's incredible though, you guys. She has been a mentor and a friend to me for the past 6.5 years. I actually really got to know her probably about 6 years ago when I started really leaning in and started becoming a leader. And I want to just give you guys this and take everything I say with a grain of salt, but Kristina puts her pants on the same exact way you do, right? We sometimes put coaches who have all these amazing accolades on these pedestals. Do you want to know how they get there? They're willing to put in the work. They don't slow down when life happens. I've watched her go through hurricanes. I've watched her lose her grandmother. I've watched them buy businesses. I've watched, we together had people from our team leaving, being poached by other companies. Like, but she is, and you guys know if you work closely with me, she is that I aspire to be. I model what she does because it works, because she's authentic, because she's vulnerable, because she's real and relatable. Funny story, I almost signed up with Kristina because I had started watching Kristina and Becky through Mindy. Didn't know Mindy, didn't know any of them, but Mindy didn't get back to me. So I was like, I'm going to go message her. You know what she said? I'd love to get you started. And she's like, have you worked with another coach? Simple language. Have you worked with another coach? And I said, yeah, Mindy Horde. And she said, Mindy will help you. Let me message her. Maybe she was busy and didn't see your email. Like, that's integrity, you guys. That is who we are. So if you ever find yourself in a situation, just ask the question, have you ever worked with another coach? But she is one of my most favorite people. She's a 9-time elite coach now. She is working her way to the tippity top of the company. I know she's working really hard for top 25 with her team, which they're just incredible. I think they've had like 8 or 9 new diamonds this year, like literally just dripping diamonds every freaking week. She has achieved Millions Club. She is multi-time speaker for Beachbody. Like I could go on and on, but most of all, she's a mama and she's a wife. Guys, I think that's the most important title that she carries, because you're going to hear tonight, guys, you might even see, it's late there, but you might even see their family come in, because that often comes. But she's built this business through motherhood. And so when you listen to her and you see all these accolades and you see her beautiful posts, these pictures, instead of saying, wow, I wish I could do that, ask yourself, why not me? Because that's what I did. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce her and let her take it away.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you guys. It's an honor to be here. And by the way, you might see some names that you're like, wait, she's not on our team. I asked Melissa if I can invite my personally sponsored team, and she said yes. Graciously, she said yes. So thank you for having TTT along with you guys for tonight. So when Melissa asked me to speak, I always say, okay, what is it like that you want me to speak on? And without hesitation, she said, I want you to share your running journey. And she said, I heard you on El Cumbre, which if you guys were, some of you are like brand new, but I know most of you were here with Summit that was virtual. I shared my running story in the Hispanic Summit, in the Latino Summit in Spanish. And Melissa was like, I have no idea what you said, but I was crying the whole time. And I thought that was so funny. Truth be told, I still cry when I think of my running journey. I cry thinking about how far I've come. I get emotional over the growth that I've had this year, simply because I made that goal, that choice, that decision to train for a half marathon. So let me take you back. And obviously this is timely. We are sharing this because in just a few weeks, we're going to be launching our first running program that I literally had no idea. Do you know how many times I have been accused of knowing what was coming in the pipeline and saying, oh, you decided to start running because you knew this was coming? I had no idea that Idalis was creating a running program. But in 2019, we had a pretty solid year as a team. It wasn't without its challenges, but we got through it. And in December, I felt like the weight of leadership on my shoulders. And I hope that this applies to everybody, because at some point in your Beachbody career, you will feel weight on your shoulders at any level. And this is not the first time that I have felt this weight. And I'll explain kind of how what I felt. But there's this one quote that was literally like very heavy on my heart, and it's a Maxwell quote. Usually when I quote anyone, it's either Eric Thomas or John Maxwell. And he says in almost every leadership book that everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And that's a really heavy sentiment. That's a really heavy quote if you're a leader, right? If you have stepped into the role of leadership, my Siri just started quoting me. If you step into the role of leadership and John Maxwell saying like, hey girl, it all rests on your shoulders, there's going to be some times where you're like, oh my God, how do I even continue? And I felt like that in December of 2019, just last year. And we went on this trip to Costa Rica. And when I kid you not, you guys know I'm very honest with you guys on my team about the complete and utter blessing that this business can be when you treat it like a business, when you focus on your work, when you're intentional with what you're doing, that it can be a complete and ultimate blessing. And we took my literal bucket list trip to Costa Rica and took my parents with us, and it was phenomenal. But as I'm sitting there on this like crazy trip, I'm thinking about the business, because I have a very hard time shutting down from thinking of what I'm doing next, what's the next goal, what's the next vision for Diesel Nation, what are we going to try to accomplish next year? And I'm feeling very uninspired, to be quite honest. And maybe some of you have felt that way. Maybe you feel like that right now, because I'll tell you, September is notorious for having feelings like that, especially in newer coaches. And I felt completely uninspired to even think, how do I take this next step forward? And I knew that something had to change, because like John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. And I felt like I needed to change. I needed to budge. I needed to figure this out because of the responsibility that I have, right? And I take that very seriously. I take all of you and your success and your businesses and your physical, emotional, mental transformations very seriously, because that is what we do. And I'm sitting there by the pool, probably sipping way too many margaritas, and I'm like, I need to set a big, scary goal. One that literally shakes me to my core, that is virtually impossible for me to even wrap my head around. And I knew that it had to not be something that was tied to Beachbody. I knew it had to be something completely out of my comfort zone. Anything Beachbody is comfort to me. So I needed it to be completely out of what is, something anyone would expect me to do. And I'm sitting there and I look at Danny and I said, babe, I figured it out. I'm going to train for and run a half marathon. You guys, I kid you not, I think he spit his drink out. He was cracking up, because I have tried to run like a 5K with him, and he says that I sound like a dying cow. Like, I'm like trying to catch my breath and I can't breathe. And he's like, you're gonna die. Like, we need to stop. Do you need to walk? And he literally like spit out his drink and he's like, okay, sure, whatever you say. But I knew that this is what I needed. I needed something to completely push me. I needed a mindset shift. I needed to refocus on something else just for a minute. What I didn't know was what was going to happen as a result of setting that goal. So we came home. I went to the running store. I bought the shoes. I bought the headset. I invested in myself. I invested in my goal. I invested in the vision of me running this half marathon. I did all the things. And on January 3rd, I ran my first quote unquote training race. 2 minutes in, I thought I was going to die. I'm not even joking. I'm like, why would anyone in their right mind want to run? And I apologize to any runner on this call. If you are a runner, I appreciate you now to like the end of the world. But I literally was that person that would make fun of runners on Instagram. Like, if you've been following me, I used to post the running memes that like the only reason I would run is if someone was like chasing me or I was running towards a margarita or whatever it is, but I would make fun of runners. And here I am now questioning everything about this goal, which I bet you guys do too, right? You set a goal and then you're like, oh, this is going to be so hard. Why am I doing this? And I started questioning this decision to run this half marathon. 2 minutes into my first training run. Towards the end of the run, I knew that I needed to change something because I was going to quit. And I don't necessarily quit a lot of things, but this was really weighing on me. Like, how do I go from struggling to run 2 minutes straight to running 13.1 miles? Like, I couldn't even wrap my head around it. Some of you might be sitting here going, how am I even going to run a 5K, right? If you're brand new to running, trust me, I know that feeling very well. But I had to shift my mindset. I shifted that mindset to gratitude and to the ability of me being able to run and the sun in my face and the wind in my hair. And I was able to finish that first training run. And I decided, okay, if I could do that, I can continue, right? I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to try it again. Every time I ran for the first 2 weeks, Danny came with me. And I realized that I am stronger when I'm with other people. Are you stronger when you're with other people, right? Community, right? So then 2 weeks into this journey, guess what happens? I'm like, babe, okay, it's time for our training run. And he's like, sorry, I have an appointment. I can't run with you today. Oh my God, you guys, it was the worst run of my life because now I was alone and now nobody was watching me. And I was now accountable to myself to do this run. And it was absolutely horrible. I walked more than I should have. It was kind of embarrassing. I was so disappointed in myself. And I went home and I told him, I'm like, well, you're going to have to stick with me, right? Because I need an accountability coach. I need someone to push me when this gets hard. And so we recommitted. But thereafter, I did have to go by myself, but I had already gone through the experiencing of doing it alone and knowing that that was my weakness. So that's something I had to work on. I had to work on the strength to do things and do this when nobody is watching. Do you guys feel like sometimes that's part of your coaching journey or even your life journey or your parenting journey? Like there's so many metaphors, you guys, like it's not even funny. But it was still incredibly hard. I still had not felt that runner's high that people talk about. I'm like, what is that thing? Because I don't feel any kind of high when I am running. All I feel is pain and my knees hurt and my hips hurt and I can hardly breathe and it's hot. Like that's what I felt. So I knew that something had to change. And so I went on social media and I said, all right, guys, I think what I need is a date and I need a marathon that I'm going to run, a half marathon that I'm going to run. And so I posted that up and I asked for suggestions and I got 100 and something comments. It was wild. But one comment stood out to me like a freaking, like it had neon lights on it. And it was an old friend of mine who lives in Memphis. She said, why don't you run the St. Jude half marathon? And immediately everything changed. Because if you followed me, maybe not, but there was a little boy in our community that is tied to everybody that I know. And everybody that I love knows this family. And this little boy, Jakey, had been diagnosed with a rare brain tumor. And he was being treated by St. Jude for free. And they were doing clinical trials on him and all the things. And immediately when my friend said, why don't you run the St. Jude half? I said, oh my God, I'm going to run for Jakey. And in that moment, my goal of running a half marathon became a purpose. It was no longer about me, but it was about him. And immediately everything changed. It changed for my running journey. It changed in my business. It changed in my life because that's when I was reminded after suffering through all that torment at the end of 2019 about how I continue to push forward in this business and carry the burdens of leadership forward into 2020. I realized that all that time I was thinking about me, but I wasn't thinking about the purpose that I had behind coaching. And I was reminded that the way that you go from where you are right now to where you want to go in the future and the vision that you have for yourself, for your family, for your business, for all of it, is because it has to be backed by something way bigger than you. It can't just be about you. And at that moment, everything changed. And I'm gonna read through the days because I don't want to mess this up because this was wild to me. On January 3rd, I told you that I struggled to run 2 minutes straight, right? That was January 3rd. On February 1st, 1 month later, I ran a 3K, right? So not necessarily, I didn't run a 5K yet, but I ran a 3K. On February 6th, I ran for 30 minutes straight for the first time in my life. On February 11th, I ran my first 5K. Almost 1 month, and we're about to launch a 30-day program that takes you from 0 to 5K. On February 11th, I ran my first 5K with a bunch of coaches from my team and Danny. On February 25th, I ran for 50 minutes straight. On May 5th, this was after quarantine and starting 9-week control freak, so we had to take a little break. But on May 5th, I ran my first 10K interval with my sister Becky, and that's when she committed to start running. Have you noticed that Becky has started running? The power of a movement, right? I'm reading through my notes here because I don't want to mess this up. After that day, at least 20 of coaches and friends of mine have committed to running that half marathon on December 5th with me. On May 24th, for the first time since I started running, I felt the runner's high. And I can't even begin to tell you what that feels like. And if you're a runner, please drop it in the chat that when you catch it, you feel absolutely the most powerful human being on the planet. You feel like you can run and run and run and run and run, and you feel alive and you feel strong and you feel empowered. Jakey passed away on June 8th. And that day I recommitted to this journey. And I know a lot of people doubt that I will run, but that day I said, no matter what. On December 5th, even though the St. Jude Half Marathon has now gone virtual, we are running a 13.1 half marathon here in Miami in his memory. And I'm committed to raising all the money that I was going to raise to do it in person. We're still going to raise that money to do it now. But I'm going to tell you guys that this journey has, like, it's transformed everything about me. And I hope that you take this step forward. The challenge, I'm sorry guys, I know I'm trying to fight back the tears too. I know it's hard, but guess what? Life is hard, and the things that we take on are hard. And if you can find that purpose behind them, you can seriously accomplish any dream that you set out for yourself. And that's just a piece of like the things that I have felt on this journey, and they continue to keep surprising me, and I keep getting stronger and stronger. But what I've taken from running into the business is what I want you guys to really take away. And sure, I want you to embrace 30-day breakaway. I want you to love running as much as I do, but even if you don't, and that's fine, but I want you to take away the lessons that I've learned since this journey started for me. The first one is that your excuses and your limiting beliefs, they can be overcome. Your excuses and your limiting beliefs can be overcome, because if this girl right here who hated running, who was dying at the thought of running a minute, 2 minutes, can overcome those thoughts, and now with confidence is saying that she's running a half marathon on December 5th, no ifs, ands, or buts, that means that any limiting belief that you have right now, any story that you are telling yourself is BS, and it's what's keeping you from moving forward. And you have the choice to get rid of those limiting beliefs and start running towards your own dreams and goals. Number 2 is that you have to, and this is key now in the short term and in the long term, and I'm telling you because I have been there for a long time, 10 years in this business, that you have to align your goals with some purpose. You can't just want diamond to want diamond. You can't just want star diamond because star diamond, or elite because elite. There has to be something with meaning behind it. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your family? What does it mean to your team? What does it mean? Because I will tell you that Thursday, when you wake up and you're diamond and it's fun and you get your gift, and for me, I'll send flowers, and that's great, and it's your diamond day. But then comes Friday. And Friday you have a decision to make, whether you're going to get back on and keep working forward, or you're going to sit there and let that be the mountain that you climbed in this business and let it be. No, you have to keep going. So in order to keep that momentum moving forward, there has to be a purpose behind the goals. Number 3, you've got to be coachable. Oh my God, did I research everything when I started running? What were the best shoes? What were the best headphones? What were the best shorts? That's even a thing. Do you know that runner stomach is a thing that I experienced? I was running, you guys, running. And then I was getting these debilitating stomach cramps. And it might happen to you where I was literally in bed texting Amy Coppola, what is happening to me? Why am I being punished for trying to run a half marathon? She's like, Google it. It's called runner stomach. Did you know that blood rushes to your guts when you run, and then when you stop running, it rushes back down into your legs, or vice versa? I'm not sure. And it creates like crazy cramping, where I was like for hours in bed, and I'm like, but this doesn't seem right. I'm doing something good. And I researched and I read podcasts. I mean, I listened to podcasts. I read articles on running because I was trying to be coachable, because clearly I am not the expert. In your coaching business, you have amazing mentors. You have amazing coaches in the network to look up to. When something is working for someone, don't compare yourself to them. Don't say, well, she runs faster than me, or she hit diamond faster than me. Learn from each other. Learn from each other, and don't compare, because that comparison, like they say, will kill all your dreams. Everybody's on a different path. Everybody's journey is going to be different. And so you have to embrace where you are now and learn from each other, because that's what's going to make us all stronger. Number 4 is, boy, did I learn this the hard way 2 weeks into my running journey, is embrace community. Right? How we hit our goals is by embracing each other. I needed to embrace Danny, like literally holding on to him while I ran to get, to keep going. But I realized that I'm stronger with him. And guess what I did in my coaching business, and I sometimes still have to remind myself to stop doing it, is stop being an island. My best friend calls me that. She's like, you're an island. You seem to not need anybody. And guess what? I do. And you know what I did this year when I realized that, how I needed Danny to run, and when Becky ran with me, or even Suzette, or whoever on my team would come run with me, and I would run stronger that day, I realized that I needed to lean back into the network. And now you've seen how I collaborate with Moira and Danielle, because I need to continue learning from them. I don't know it all, and I never will know it all. And if there's someone that can help me grow my business and help lead Diesel Nation, then I have to do that. So you have to embrace that too. Number 5, energy is contagious, right? Like your energy is what's going to bring everything to you, good and bad. Like if it's good energy, you're gonna really benefit from that. If it's bad energy, you're gonna repel that. And for me, this energy that I brought to my running journey, what happened? I started inspiring people. And people tell me, like, you inspire. I had Jamie Carlson, one of my new coaches, and luckily she landed in the 30-day breakaway test group, but she started running with me when she became a coach. She's like, man, I let it go for years, but you've inspired me to keep going and to jump back into running. And those stories, oh my God, I have so many stories of people. My sister would not run with me, you guys. I'm telling you, she was like, nope, that's your thing. You're crazy. I'm not doing it. La, 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 la. Until we were in the Keys and I said, can you do it? Just one with me? And then when I told her about, like, I registered for the St. Jude half. This is like for Jakey. Boom, change of mindset. Now she's like a 10 times stronger runner than I am. And it's a little bit frustrating, but she's joined me. Right? And you're going to get frustrated along the way. But the energy that you put out and how you talk about where you're going. I talked to her about, we're going to Memphis, we're doing this. And that inspired her. So share your energy, share where you're going, share your vision. And that's what's going to attract people to you. And then the last one is consistency wins the day, right? Consistency wins the day. You have to do it and do it and do it and do it. And there's Coach Bennett on the Nike app, and you're probably going to hear it from Idalis. Every run is a success. Every run is a success. But there's going to be good ones and there's going to be bad ones. And you're going to have to learn how to get through the bad ones in order to find those good ones. But every run teaches you a lesson. And I cannot stress that enough. There's going to be days where you feel like your feet weigh 3,000 pounds. And there's going to be runs where you feel like you're actually floating on air. But every run is going to teach you something that is going to take you to the next level of your running journey. Same thing goes for your business. Every day that you keep going, every day that you get up and you jump on your power hour, or you start your invites, or you jump on calls, or you do the things that move the needle forward, they're going to teach you something. And some days are going to suck, and some days are going to be great. Some days you're going to get a lot of no's. Some days you're going to get a yes or a coach sign up. Everything is meant to happen. Right? Everything is meant, every challenge, every struggle, every success, victory, all of it is meant to teach you something that's going to take you to the next level. So you have to remain ridiculously consistent. Same thing in your running journey. So you guys, that's my running story. I am running a half marathon on December 5th. Everybody's welcome to join because it's going to be virtual. So you just got to go with us, and we're going to do an event and all the things. But at the very least, what I ask is that you embrace 30-day breakaway, and not only embrace it for yourself, but share this energy behind it, because I just think that if it's changed me like it has, if we all embrace this and then we share this with energy and passion and, do the damn thing and share it on social media and on all of that, how we can affect other people's lives positively by running, and by Idalis, because she's amazing, simply because we took that step forward into the unknown, for many of us, into the unknown. So that's it, Melissa.
Yay, that's so good. I'm holding back tears because it's so it's just so good. And I wrote down a lot of notes, and I hope everyone else did. I will do a recap of the top 6 tips that Kristina gave us and put them in the team page. But I just want you guys to think, maybe it's not running, right? I know some of you are doing 75 hard right now. Some of you are pushing for 2-star by the end of the year. Some of you have a financial goal you're working towards. But it's so easy to give up or to settle for less when you don't have purpose behind it. And I think sometimes we get lost in those goals, not remembering the reason why, right? I can look across the screen, and for those of you who are on my team, I know what your purpose is, but I think sometimes you forget that. And I was listening to a podcast this morning, and I sent it to you guys, and I sent it to our leaders group. It's got a lot of freaking cussing in it, but it's so good. But Andy was saying, Andy's the guy that he developed 75 hard, and I just love him. I think he's so raw, so real. But he was saying, as a leader, if you don't hold the line, no one will. That's the same thing for parenting. That's the same thing for our business. If you were the CEO of your own company, and I posed this question to some of the girls on our team today, and I want to pose it to you guys. If you paid $150,000, $250,000 to start this business, would you show up when it was convenient? Would you stop because distance learning is happening? You guys, it sucks. Let's talk about it, right? Let's be real. It sucks. It's getting you into a shitty mindset, but you have control over it. You have control to get yourself up in the morning and to work on your mindset first. That's the first thing I do. I move my body by going out and doing my walk run, because I'm not at a full run yet. We have hills here. We don't have flat land. We have especially where I'm at in Hidden Valley, it's like this. And I listen to personal development so that I can come back and set my kids up for success, so that I can pour into you guys for success. Because if I'm not right and I'm leading you, everyone's going to be in a funky mood, right? And so I want you guys to think about, how are you showing up for your household, and how are you showing up for your family? Because if you're not giving them the very best version of themselves, you're cheating yourself too. Nobody wants to be ticked off all the time and grumpy. So sit tonight and think about, have you lost sight of your purpose? Have you lost your way? Did you forget why you're a part of this? And there's many of you guys that I'm look on here, and I'm just going to say, and this isn't to call anyone out or to embarrass you, you're settling for less. You're giving yourself an out, and that's not fair to the people that you've brought on to this journey. That's not fair to your family, because you're investing time on calls like this that takes away from time from them. So if you're going to do that gut check moment and get back to why you did this. I'm going to just ask one question before we get off this, because I think it's something that's important that, you know, maybe hearing it from you, it'll come across a little bit different. What's your top tip for moms who, you know, who are in the thick of distance learning and, you know, really struggling to wrap themselves around it? And I know that it hasn't always been easy advocating for DJ, but we have moms on our team who have those similar struggles. What would your best advice be for right now?
I would say prioritize your time really well. I mean, I think that's key. I think everyone should be working off right now a to-do list, because I think that will kind of give you the framework for what your activities need to be doing to move the needle forward. If you're pushing for a goal, like a rank advancement goal, you know that your only job right now is to recruit coaches, right? So instead of doing all the other things, then let that be your focus. And so obviously sacrificing time, but when we talk about sacrificing time, I think when any person that is building a business has to sacrifice time. Like if you are here to build a business, you can't expect to go about your normal life the same way you did before becoming a coach and expect you to build a business. It just doesn't work that way. So get real with your expectations on what this takes, and then make sure that you're just setting time, you're putting down your to-do list and you're prioritizing your time that way. If you know your kids need that attention, especially the ones, I pray for the ones that have the really little ones at home that are on Zoom, because that's difficult. Like that, and that's difficult. So patience with yourself obviously is key. Patience with your kids. We'll be back to normal soon, but you don't want to lose the momentum that you've built all year, because everybody's in this boat. So just make sure that you're sacrificing time. You're working from a to-do list and only focusing on things that actually move the needle, that are getting you closer to what it is that you are trying to accomplish. Because I know we do this, I do it too. Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm going nuts. But if I were really to look at what you were doing every single day, I bet that a lot of time is doing like mindless scrolling. I'm gonna, like right now, my mindless scrolling is finding bathroom inspiration, and I catch myself like, oh my God, I've been doing this for 2 hours. You know what I mean? So gut check yourself. I love using that. Melissa used it too, on what it is you are actually spending your time on. And if it's not in line with your main priorities or buckets, right? If you like the buckets analogy, like what are your buckets? Family, kids, husband, feeding them, keeping them alive, my business, that you are making sure that all of them are being filled every single day. Consistency in this business, I cannot say it enough. You've got to show up every day in order to build trust. This business is built on trust. If you stop right now because it's just a difficult time, then to regain that trust becomes incredibly hard. So do your best to prioritize your time. Keep your goals in front of you. Do not waste time, and just, focus on the activities that move the needle. Let me see. How do you stay calm while trying to endless messages? Messages from the team or prospecting. I'm not like, put your phone down. Look at that. Put your phone down, and when you have the 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes to respond to messages, that's what you do. What I've realized, and I learned the hard way, because when I first started building the business way back then, I did spend way too much time on my phone, and I felt the need to have to respond to a customer or to a coach when they messaged me. I'm here to give you permission to not do that. It'll be fine. In fact, and I have coaches on here. Sometimes I will see a message come through that's asking me a question, like a coach, you know who taught me this? Monica. I gotta give her credit. She's like, don't answer it. They'll find the answer on their own. And I'm like, brilliant. And by the time that they come back, they're like, oh, I found the answer. I'm like, great. And I didn't have to spend my time. So be mindful of you know, kind of hand holding a little bit too much, and it's wasting or taking away time from what's really important, which is your sanity, your kids' time, your spouse's time or partner's time. So, you know, just, I'm giving you permission to not answer messages right away. Have a set time. And if, you know, if you have to tell your team this, they understand. We're on the same boat. Hey, I'm going to be checking messages at this time. Or, you know, maybe give yourself 2 times, like in the morning and at night, or in the morning or lunchtime, or whatever it is, so that you delineate when you're working and answering messages for your team and for your customers. Oh yeah, Monica has all those hacks. She's like, just don't respond. They'll figure it out. Like,
we just had this conversation as a team actually recently. Like, I was overwhelmed with life, and now we're finding our groove with school and all the things. We are California, so we will not be back to normal soon. But I love you guys, and I appreciate you. And Kristina, you know how much I love and respect you, and just appreciate this time so much. Guys, take a deep breath, get realigned in your purpose, and just freaking go. And if you need some one-on-one time, let's schedule it, right? If you need to remember why you got started and you need somebody else to be your hype man, not inside one of our pods, because I feel like our pods hype us up, but I'm here and we're here. And find an accountability partner, do some deep work, but don't give up. Stop settling for less just because it's available, and let's freaking go. Okay, we have 100 days left this year, so dig in. I hope you guys have the best night. I'm going to give you back the rest of your evening, and just thank you, Kristina. Love you. Bye. Can't figure out how to get off this.